and strength, gathered to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
One wave in the ocean, one heart in a crowd, one voice in a whisper, each one longing so loud. Wave says, where's the water? And heart cries, where is love? And voice says, I can't find my part in the harmonies above. Every little thing is connected. Sometimes it's hard to realize that every little thing is connected. It's all before our eyes. I see it every time I look at you, and something holy is recognized. Wave, you are the water, and love, you are all heart, and voice, you are the melody. So let the music start. Every little thing is connected. Sometimes it's hard to realize. Every little thing is connected. It's all before our eyes. I see it every time I look at you, and something holy is recognized. One way in the ocean.
Good morning. It's nice to see you all here. Welcome to All Souls. One of the first things I do each week is ask if there's anyone here who would be uncomfortable if I took my mask off while I'm in the pulpit, while I'm up here, and for each of the speakers that comes to the pulpit to remove their mask. But if you're uncomfortable, please, please, please let us know. Okay, thank you. This is a church built on covenant, not creed. We're here together around how we want to be in the world and hope to grow together across our differences. We don't have to think alike to love alike. We try our best to value and respect those with differing paths and opinions. It's not an easy thing to do, but it is our covenant and our challenge. So, whoever you are, whatever your age, race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, if you care to be here with us, you are welcome. And we hope you'll come back. We are slowly returning from the pandemic exodus, diaspora. And there are a lot of people that are still not comfortable being here. And so the people that are here are comfortable being here, but we would ask that you try to keep your masks on if and when you can. We front-load the services with a little bit of information, some announcements and stuff, and we hope you'll bear with us for that part. And I invite one of our board persons of the day, or BPODs, Jennifer Russell, Dr. Jennifer Russell, to come help us.
We're good with masks. I'll help you. Good morning. All right, so our volunteer of the month for this month is Steve Caldwell. You may have heard of him. Or you may not have. He actually does quite a lot behind the scenes that we don't always realize is being done by Steve. He's kind of one of those worker bees that just gets things done. He is our webmaster for the church's website. He does a lot of the stuff that involves anything with computers and stuff that doesn't make sense to me. He puts comments on Facebook and links and all of those things. Steve also is a regular and faithful escort at Hope Medical Group for Women, and supports a lot of other organizations and causes that are important to all souls and our members here. So thank you, Steve. Adult RE has started back up, and right now they're going through some material with Dr. Ibram X. Kendi, who is a very prominent anti-racism scholar and activist. That happens on Sundays at 9 a.m. It's still over Zoom, and you can find the link in your weekly email. Children and Youth RE will be working on updating and adding to the mural that is in the middle school and high school room. They've got it all sketched out. Maggie Molis has helped us with that, with bringing the kids' kind of vision to life. And they're going to be painting that over the next few weeks. If you'd like to hang out after church and paint it too, I think there's some opportunities to do that, right, Susan? Or maybe... Okay, don't listen to me. Maybe going forward, there will be opportunities. Zoom lunch is still happening Tuesdays at noon. It's just a casual online virtual hangout with people who have been affiliated with All Souls in the past. We have some people who have moved away who show up sometimes, and also people who are still in the local community. On Saturday, August 20th, we have a workshop, I think is an okay way to describe it, with Gary Renard. And it's going to be, he is part of the Course in Miracles, and is going to be talking about some of his books, and some techniques for, it says, staying on a right-minded track and in a miracle frame of mind. So again, Saturday, August 20th from 10 to 5. Our Giveaway the Plate recipient for July is the Gingerbread House. So the Giveaway the Plate is something we do each month where anything that comes in that's not designated as a regular pledge to the church goes to a charitable organization as kind of our gift or support of them. The Gingerbread House is a local organization that helps children who have been involved in situations that might involve different forms of abuse. They do forensic interviews to help prepare the children for, or sometimes in lieu of court testimony, so that the child doesn't have to tell their story multiple times, or potentially can avoid the stress of testimony about that. They provide counseling services to those children. So they're our Give Away the Plate. If you'd like to support them, just make sure that you designate which part of your donation is for your pledge and which part might be for Give Away the Plate.
And all cash.
And any cash that's in there will just go straight to Gingerbread House for Give Away the Plate. Yeah. Our sponsor circle has welcomed our family from Afghanistan. They got here, I think, about a week and a half ago at this point. It's a family of 4, a mother, father, and a 7 and 3-year-old. There are all kinds of needs that kind of pop up throughout the week, trying to get them driver's licenses, and I mean, you can just imagine the things that people need coming to a new country. So if you'd like to get involved with that, you can talk to myself, Bennett, Susan. There's all kinds of work that needs to be done with them. So just get with one of us and we can hook you up with how to get involved. And that's all I have. Good morning.
Thank you, Jennifer. 2 things for people who may be new to Unitarian Universalism. RE stands for religious education. And I feel sure that Jennifer said this, but I am a wandering mind sometimes, and so I wanted to point out the baskets don't get passed. They're in the back of the room and on your way out if there's anything that you'd like to leave there. Ms. Susan is going to make some announcements. She's our Director of Lifespan Religious Development and Education.
I know when I go to meetings in the community, by the time I've said my church's name and my title, my time to talk is pretty much done. But we love teaching our kids the 11-syllable name of their faith. It's important. It's important. Jennifer actually covered most everything, but I did want to let you know something kind of cool. It was that next Sunday, a week from today, we will once again have the honor of hearing from Reverend Joy Walker, who will be our guest in the pulpit next week. So, and her sermon title is Easy Living, which I think might do us all some good to kind of figure out how do we in these times kind of make our lives easier with all that's going on. So please join us. And I want to just say a little message to the parents and the children and youth. The mural is really pretty cool, and we would love to get as many of you involved as possible. So we really do, I know it's summer, I know people have been scattered to the winds, but I know also that school will be starting up again sooner and sooner every year, it seems like. So we would really love to see more of our kids back, and we have everyone right now working on the mural because it's going to be the younger kids' classroom eventually too. So they get to have some input and some participation. So please join us. And sorry.
There's a long-term member of our church who today is celebrating something kind of special. If any of you would like to sing happy milestone birthday to Susan at the back of the sanctuary. You can ask her which number it is. I won't broadcast it. So Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Susan. Happy birthday to you. So no last name, so there was a tad of anonymity, and well, welcome back. So now catch your breath, let yourself be held by the pew, and relax what muscles you might be able to find searching yourself that feel a little tight. We don't generally take announcements from the floor, but I see that this is important. It's happening here, but the Course in Miracles group is really the sponsor. So it's just something that's in our facility. Okay, thank you. Remain seated and join me, please, in singing Come, Come, Whoever You Are. If you want to look in the hymnals, it's number 188. The lyrics will be here on the screen. And for those of you who have vision difficulty, we had large print orders of service in the back. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. Once more. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again, come. And I drop pitch all the way down. When we are overwhelmed with the world and cannot see our way clear, when life seems a struggle between tedium and apathy, or frenzy and exhaustion, when today seems a punishment and tomorrow a torment, may we find the courage of patience. May we recognize courage in ourselves and in our companions that is not dramatic, that elicits no fanfare, that commands little notice by the world, that is forgotten and taken for granted. May we learn how to cope like those who live one day of pain at a time, who see the long path of suffering and do not despair, who inspire us by their patient courage. When we are impatient and afraid, may we know such courage and quietly celebrate its presence among us. This reading can be also done responsively, and maybe next time we'll do it that way. Creator of all times and seasons, of all the seasons of our lives, we gather in this place. Beginning of existence. Life thread that permeates and weaves through everything. We are thankful for the days that we've been here together, even those that have tried our souls, and hopeful for the days that shall be, even those that shall demand of us the best that we have of faith and hope and courage, till we have become one with ourselves and in all the seasons to come. From the glad renewal of spring to the summer autumn day, of gold and green and yellow and the shining colors of fruition and harvest, to the white wisdom days of winter, where all things wait in patience for the change that shall bring transformation. There's a hymn that many of you may know already. The lyrics again will be up here. It's in the hymnal number 123, the gray hardback hymnal. And the lyrics are in your orders of service. Please remain seated. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Before we do our children's chalice lighting, I want to just say that there are a number of people here today that are new, who have only been here a few times or have not been here ever before. And I want to encourage everybody that is a longer-term member to seek out faces that are less familiar and just try to say hello, okay? After the service. And I think one of the kids was saying hello to their mother. Would somebody like to do the first part of the chalice lighting? Thank you, Jackson.
We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together with mind, hands, and heart, we care for the earth and for each other.
Thank you, sir. You want to light the chalice? Here we go. Thank you. Thank you. In betwixt and in between, we move in the liminal spaces to show shades of what can become, what can be. We light this chalice as a symbol of courage to move into that time of this and that, and not this and not that, with patience and faith and love and hope that this time will pass. Like the sun that moves in between rising and setting, reminding us that beauty resounds in betwixt and in between. Would you join me, please, in the unison affirmation, rise in body or spirit, and say it with me as you're comfortable. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other. Thank you. Our hymn is There Is More Love Somewhere. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. Let's do love. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. Thank you. Please be seated.
Thank you. Well, good morning again. I want to ask you, kids and grown-ups, has anybody ever told you, just be patient? Anybody ever? Jackson is like, yeah, that resonates. Yeah. So what do they mean when they say be patient? What do they mean? What does it mean to be patient? Wait patiently. That's right. And what does waiting patiently look like? What would be some behaviors that you may do or not do when you're waiting patiently? Staying calm. And what did you just say, Jackson? Don't beg. That is really good. You know what? I bet you a bunch of grown-ups can relate to that too. So stay calm, don't beg. Be at peace, right? What kinds of things do you have to be patient for? Like what kinds of situations call you to be patient? Christmas! That's right. That was actually when I was about waiting for Christmas. My mom used to say, "You're wishing your life away." I bet somebody else's mom probably said that too. When your mom is cooking something very long and you're hungry, you need to be patient. That's right. That's right. I heard parenting and pregnancy at the same time. Both of those things, and that's kind of more of your long-term patience, right? Something that you have to wait for, whether it's for a baby to be born, as you're raising your children and through all of the different stages of their lives. For kids, waiting for the end of the school year, waiting for Christmas, as Miss Sally said. Yes?
Waiting for justice.
Waiting for justice. Oh, my Lord. Yeah. Yeah. And those kinds of things, it gets harder and harder to be patient. So what can we do as we're having to wait over the long term for whatever? What kinds of things can help us? What kind of tools can we keep in our little kind of, our religious education classes we called our toolbox of faith? What are some tools we can use to help us? Yeah, Jackson. What? I didn't hear. You forgot? Okay, that's quite all right. That's quite all right. I'm sorry, what? Help other people. Yeah, especially if it's that long-term patience. You should try and use your energy to kind of help others, get with others who might be working for the same goals and work together so that it's not a lonely struggle. That's important. What about those moments when you have to wait somewhere and there's nothing else you can really do? Kittens? You know, if there are kittens in the vicinity, that is I agree. Kittens are a wonderful thing to help with waiting. I agree. What now? Pray. Yeah, pray, meditate, kind of be in the moment. Who remembers the 5-step grounding we talked about a few weeks ago? Yeah, Jackson, what was it? 5 things you see, yep. 4 things you can hear. Let's see, I think smell was 2, although it doesn't matter. If you do 3 things you can smell, that's great. I love that you're remembering this. You can feel, that's right. So if you're sitting somewhere and you have to wait, this is something you can do in your mind to kind of ground yourself in the moment and remember to, thank you, Jackson, by the way. I appreciate it so much. You can look around, 5 things you can see, and even name them out loud if you feel comfortable doing that in your surroundings. If you're in a waiting room, you may want to just think it. Or get other people to do it with you. Hey, we're all waiting here. Let's be mindful. Let's appreciate the moment. But, pick your times. But anyway, 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear. Whatever people talking, whatever noises are around you or outside that you start to call attention to. 3 things you can touch or feel right around you. 2 things you can smell. And finally, what's the last one, Jacqueline, you remember? One deep breath. Let's all do that together. And that's just one way that might help you cultivate a little patience. What about over the long term? What kinds of things can you do to help yourself when Christmas is a long way off, when the end of school is a long way off, when the baby has still got a few months left to come? What kinds of things can you do? We've already mentioned working with others. If it's a project you can work on with others, that's not not always the case. But I'm sorry, what? Preparation. Preparation, getting ready for whatever it is. The anticipation. We had people in our adult class this morning, they're about to go to Ireland. And it's still a few weeks away, but the anticipation and the preparation has begun. And there's some excitement there. Create something. Yeah, make art. Yeah. Another thing is to look at how far you've come, because you've probably made some progress toward that goal, whatever it is. Remind yourself of that progress, even as you know there's a ways to go. That's particularly true in the struggle for justice. It's not about being all self-congratulatory and look, this is all done, but it's about stopping to remind yourself that you have accomplished and you are accomplishing things. So thank you so much, everybody, for the wonderful suggestions and the grounding exercise and all of that. I really appreciate your time and attention this morning, and let's sing the kids out to painting the mural. Go now in peace, go now in peace, may the spirit of love surround you everywhere,
everywhere you may go. This is from T.S. Eliot. I said to my soul, be still and wait without hope. For hope would be hope for the wrong thing. Wait without love, for love would be love of the wrong thing. There is yet faith, but the faith and the love and the hope are all in the waiting. Wait without thought, for you are not ready for thought. So the darkness shall be the light, and the stillness the dancing. Thomas Merton, who is a Trappist monk, had a prayer that has been called the prayer of unknowing. And it's from a Christian tradition, and it goes like this. My Lord God, I have no idea where I'm going. I do not see the road ahead of me. I cannot know for certain where it will end, nor do I really know myself. And the fact that I think I am following your will does not mean that I am actually doing so. But I believe that the desire to please you does in fact please you. And I hope I have that desire in all that I'm doing. I hope that I will never do anything apart from that desire. And I know that if I do this, I will be led by the right road. Though I may know nothing about it, therefore will I trust you always, though I may seem to be lost and in the shadow of death. I will not fear, for you are ever with me, and you will never leave me to face my perils alone. A large portion of that was used in the beginning of this story That's by Jacob Morrill, a Unitarian Universalist minister. Patience isn't my strength. I want to know how my children's lives will turn out. I want justice to arrive irrevocably in the structures and hearts of the world. But wisdom whispers, just wait. And sometimes wisdom speaks as a lava-hot pecan pie. Other pies have their virtues, but none transfixes the soul like the winsome pecan. Waiting for it to bake is out-and-out agony. Mid-bake, you'll be tempted to nibble a sample, but resist. It'll burn your tongue off. Don't ask how I know. Even right out of the oven, it's not ready. According to personal research, the pie enthusiast who leaps in at that moment will also observe dramatically unwanted tongue sensation specifics. Nope. A pie like pecan is going to need time to set. Not to sit, but to set. It's a word bakers know. When a pecan pie sets, the gooey mess on the inside starts to get organized. Not through external intervention, but through a strange and subtle emergent upwelling. There have been times in my life when everything on the inside was a gooey mess. That's been the case more days than not throughout the dreaded pandemic. Trying harder turned out not to be the solution. Neither did pretending I knew what to do. So on my better days, I tried to cut loose the hustle, hunker down into stillness, and to let myself set, S-E-T, surrender everything tenderly. Tenderly. I surrender my pride and my shame, my need for approval, my need for control, or to know what comes next. Even my certainty about pie and all those other opinions that clutter my brain. For me, surrendering everything tenderly brings an awareness of that strange and subtle emergent upwelling, which I've come to know as the action of grace. It's a clarity and a coherence that you can't get from striving. It is a time of not yet and already. When we impatiently await what is already here, maybe this season, with what you have wanted still so far away, one option could be to give up trying, which does not mean just sit and wait. With pecan pie in mind and any trust you can muster in the action of grace, why not set a while? Wondrous, sacred mystery. Spirit of life, in this not yet and already in between time, teach us to risk trusting some measure of grace so that our lives might become all the more entwined with the way of all things and the process of delivering love at last to this world. Wendell Berry wrote, "Geese appear high over us, pass and the sky closes. Abandon, as in love or sleep, holds them to their way, clear in the ancient faith. What we need is here. And we pray not for new earth or heaven, but to be quiet in heart and in eye, clear. What we need is here. May we sit and have an experience of setting for just a moment. As the music plays, if you would care to light a candle in celebration of anything, or as a prayer, or marking a concern, please feel free to come forward. And I will be lighting some at the end. If mobility is difficult for you, pick one and think mindfully of what it might represent for you.
Every night you pace the floor, wondering where the portents you found before set you wandering, wandering. Every day you work that much harder to keep yourself from being a martyr behind the scenes, but keep that dream. Was it years ago you first touched the sky? Do you still believe your eyes? I don't know why you have to try so hard to hear your own heart calling. You're the keeper of the dream. Breadcrumbs leading from the frozen stream. You're the light they choose to see. keeper of the dream. Saturdays burning volumes of symbols, neatly lined up to point to the riddles you're pondering. Well aware aging children may follow and have the visions they pick turned to holograms under them. You look again. When you turn inside, you still hear their cries. Casting feelings has its price, and you pay twice. You have to ride so far to save the last star from falling. You're the keeper of the dream. Breadcrumbs leading from the frozen stream. You're the light they choose to see. Keeper of the dream.
I don't know if you can fade the song, but that'll do. Thank you, James, for working our sound up there and messing with all the different mics we're throwing at you. And the hybrid services, we spent 2 years just kind of figuring out how to do completely online services, and then we had to start learning how to do hybrid ones. We are still early in that process. So if you can't be with us but are curious about what's going on here, you can go to the All Souls Shreveport Facebook page. You don't have to be a Facebook member to access it, is what I understand. And the services are there live as we go, with about a 10 or 15 second delay, I think. That's unpreventable. So, some definitions here. I'm not even going to tell you what they're for. You'll figure it out. I got faith in you. An ability or willingness to suppress restlessness or annoyance when confronted with delay. The capacity to accept or tolerate delay, trouble, or suffering without getting angry or upset. The ability to remain calm when dealing with a difficult or annoying situation, task, or person. Now, none of these are talking about not doing stuff, right? Although, if you're parenting and you tell your kids to be patient, you may mean don't do something. Now, just for some reference, in biblical terms, the word that was translated into patient only shows up 3 times in the entire Old Testament. They use forbearance a lot, and forbearance is holding back. Patience is something totally different. And also in the New Testament, the Christian Testament, the Hebrew Testament only uses the word patient 3 times. The Christian Testament uses it a lot more, predominantly in the Pauline letters and things like that. But sometimes, instead of using the word patient, which it might be translated in some versions, the replacement is long-suffering. Now, I have images that come to my mind when I think of long-suffering. There are people that I think of as long-suffering. There are phrases, you know, long-suffering spouse, that now, for a large portion of my life, I indulged my impulses and held my own perspective as the most important. By cracky. If something was inconvenient for me, whatever made it that way was automatically at fault and not right. If the ends I sought were not coming to fruition, I would rail against whatever occurred otherwise. I did get angry in traffic if I was in a hurry, feel like someone cheated me if they got a gig that I had planned to go audition for before I ever got around to going to audition for it. When I tried to conduct business, that which interfered or seemed not to respect my effort at the moment received my bluntly articulated irritation. And I think some of the choir members can attest to that in history. As an originally addictive personality who has been in recovery now for more than 32 years, some of that behavior, no, it's not my doing. Some of that behavior has improved over time. And hopefully when I get called on it, new things that I might still be blind to improve as well. But it takes time, and it happens over time. It continues to take time. I seldom get angry at annoying people anymore, with perhaps one exception. Family is tough. It takes much less time for me to move into acceptance when a delay arises, like trains and red lights and flights or deliveries not showing up on time, or being able to complete a project that I had planned to do, or chores, or if something else comes up. Really regarding almost anything, with some exceptions, I have an easier time kind of letting go and saying, well, this is what's happening right now. And I have a great deal more willingness to suppress the restlessness that comes with annoyance, delay, tasks, people, situations, trouble, and some suffering. I can recall trying to create affinity with people who were in waiting situations with me, like in line at concerts or checkout lines, or waiting in doctor's offices, or, and I tried to make affinity by complaining about how lousy the operation was being conducted or something. And I have found over time that that is a less popular activity with other people. No, really. I think people generally are trying harder to be patient, okay? The last time I did that was about 13 years ago. That particular, trying to make affinity around how crummy it was waiting. Now, as a veteran of cancer and chemo, which for some inexplicable reason genuinely fried my nervous system, I have been trying to learn how to navigate a new nervous system. And I have a different understanding with people whose nervous systems are different than the one I think I grew up with. It's really quite kind of interesting. But it was something that I was sort of unfamiliar with until 5 or 6 years ago. There is something akin to a constant electrical hum or buzz in my system that was never there before. And I don't know how many of you feel that, but I know some of you do. I'm learning, or at least trying to learn, my way back to the calmer center that I had even when I was making other people uncomfortable. A sense of peace that was accessible if I took the time to reach it. The reorienting has gone less than smoothly. And again, the choir can attest to that. We haven't met in a few years, so I'm hopefully not talking about current events. And if I am, y'all need to let me know. And sometimes apologies are not good enough. And as a result, my corresponding impatience cost the choir and our attendants some people that were dear faces along the way. Recently, I have come to believe that in many instances, impatience is a byproduct of privilege. I hadn't thought about that before. But those most comfortable demonstrating impatience are those who believe themselves relatively impervious to consequences by demonstrating that impatience. There appear to be all sorts of people who learned patience early because they had to. And others who don't seem to have ever noticed the value in that particular virtue. How many of us have heard people raise a ruckus for not being treated the way they thought they should by a restaurant or, I don't know. Sometimes people who act that way actually get treated differently. And that's a puzzle to me. But a sense that they're more deserving somehow than the other people who are in the same boat. I can't help but think of those across time who were severely punished if they gave the slightest hint of disapproval under what could easily have been unbearably inhuman circumstances. Both of those extremes of impatience and long-suffering do exist, though most of us live somewhere in between, betwixt and between. I think it's probably among our most common growing edge. Last week, I sent cards around and asked people if they would to write down a strength that they thought they might have to share in this endeavor we call church, or in our efforts, among the broader community. A strength that they think that you think you have. And also a weakness about which you think you might need to be mindful. Almost everyone listed they needed to work on impatience. I would like to send the cards around again, and for those of you who weren't here last week, I would like to ask you, if you would, to name a strength you think you bring, or if you think you got the instructions a different way, you're welcome to fill out another card. And maybe name a weakness that you think you need to be mindful of as we build this beloved community. When I was doing that last week, I pointed out that it had been asked of us at a ministers' gathering for interfaith, and the first person who spoke said that they over-obligated themselves, that they tried to do too much, and that was both a blessing and a curse. So you can't name that one. And this time, I'm going to ask you to leave out impatience. Okay? So the things that all of us can probably name, I'm going to ask that they not get named. And I'm just going to start these in the front and ask y'all to pass them back. The baskets can be sat on the floor when they've gone through the room. And if you would put your card in the basket in the back with the offerings, that would be wonderful if you're willing to turn them in. Okay? Here we go. Now, we have a little ground yet to cover in having patience with ourselves, having patience with the unknown, or with those whose processors don't run at the same speed ours do, whether they run more slowly or more rapidly. People that want to get things done at a different pace. Of patience by working to more fully embody the lessons and strength of character that abide with patience. We have more to learn of that work. So here is a very, very, very brief outline we might use in our cultivation of more patience in appropriate circumstances. First, we can recognize that a sense of impatience has arisen. The sooner we can begin to recognize that response, the sooner we can start to do something with it. And so just recognizing it, knowing that's what it is. Second, investigate how that makes you feel in your body and your mind. Allow yourself first to really feel the impatience that's there. Don't try to just shut it down and put it away. Acknowledge that it's impatience. And when you're feeling that way, are you calm or relaxed? Or is there more tension and stress in you? Awareness of the discomfort becomes motivation to try to change the thought a little. So recognize it, investigate it, and then begin to transform the impatience into patience, because that's an act of self-care. That's an act of compassion. Ask if there is anything I can do to change this situation without making it worse for myself or others right now, in this instant. And then find something in the moment or surroundings or even circumstance that makes you curious. Because that's a different feeling. It's also something we can often do something about. If we're curious, we can do more investigation. But find something in the moment or your surroundings that might seem good. Oh, my knee's not hurting right now. I'm old. But I haven't caught up with her. And then mindfulness practices. We talk about these a lot, and it's often intellectuals who are the least comfortable trying to be still or letting their minds run with something that can maybe bring you back, whether it's your breath or a mantra or a prayer. And all of those things you can do without sitting still. Like I was referring to the Hebrew Testament and the Christian Testament earlier, and in the Christian Testament, 1 Corinthians 13, we are told that love is patient, or charity suffereth long, depending on which translation. There are a lot of other ways that it's phrased. We have grown up being told in those traditions, if that's a tradition in which you grew up, that if you're loving, you're going to be patient. And if you're not patient, then you just don't have any love. The fruits of the Spirit in Galatians in the New Testament, one of those is patience. In that instance, it's also translated long-suffering and forbearance. Long-suffering, I'm thinking you don't have to make peace with it, you just bear it. Forbearance is holding back what you really want to do about it. So if we can be patient and still be doing what we need to do about things, it seems like a better choice than long-suffering or forbearance. Anyway, just curiosity. In this little book, people who have been here probably at least 30 years may remember someone named Ruth Calger. She gave me this book along with a few others when she moved away. This is called The Book of Qualities. And here, between fear and confusion, is patience. The description it offers is, patience wears my grandmother's filigree earrings. She bakes marvelous dark bread. She has beautiful hands. She carries great sacks of peace and purses filled with small treasures. You don't notice patience right away in a crowd, but suddenly you see her all at once. And then she is so beautiful, you wonder why you never saw her before. Poet Langston Hughes wrote, "What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load. Or does it explode? Seems to me deferred dreams have done all of those things. Of course, Dr. Martin Luther King urged us that there are some things concerning which we must always be maladjusted if we are to be people of goodwill. Can we be maladjusted to stuff and still be patient people? I think so. The people in my one little life that I have observed be the strongest in the most difficult of circumstances knew suffering well. And had found a peace that went beyond it. Our closing hymn is Creative Love, Our Thanks We Give. The words will be up here. The words are also in the orders of service and the gray hymnal 289. I am going to play a different melody than the one that's in the hymnal. I'm going to do it to an old Celtic melody, The Water is Wide. But I would ask you to stand as you're comfortable in body or spirit. Creative love, our thanks we give, that this our world is incomplete, that struggle greets our will to live, and wake awaits our hands and feet, that we are not yet fully wise, that we are in the making still, as friends who share one enterprise and strive to blend with nature's will. What though the future long delay, and still with faults we daily cope, it gives at night for which to pray, a field for toil and faith and hope, since what we choose is what we are, and what we love we yet shall be. The goal may ever shine afar, the will to reach it makes us free. Willingness and will. I pray we never lose those. We are easily discouraged when life takes unexpected turns and our carefully laid plans and dreams come to nothing. We've seen some of that recently, or at least that's how it feels right now. We confess we are quick to give up when things get difficult. Forgive us. Grant us patience to wait for your perfect timing. Open our eyes to recognize the leading in our lives and help us hear the gentle whisper guiding us in the way created for each of us. Then give us courage to step out in faith and obedience even when we cannot see the outcome. When despair for the world grows in me and I wake in the night at the least sound, I fear of what my life and my children's lives may be. I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world, and I am free. May your hearts find a place of peace to carry you through these challenging times. May the compassion of your spirit and your wholeness in the unity of existence allow you the comfort of patience. Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Love and kindness be with you till we meet again. Ashe, Namaste. So be it, blessed be. Amen.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, the far off hymn that hails a new creation.
No storm can shake my inmost strong, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth.
How can I keep from while all the time the strong he roars, I know the truth it liveth, and though the darkness round me close, songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost song, while to that rock I'm clinging, since love prevails in heaven and earth. How can I keep from singing? see the blue above it, and day by day this pathway smooths, since first I learned to love it. No storm can shake my inmost calm. I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing?